All right, students, we are back with Whoso Lists to Hunt, talking about sonnets and talking about poetic meter, recognizing and analyzing the poet's metrical choices. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about poetic meter. So at the top it says each line of a sonnet is composed of five iambs, which is a unit of unstressed followed by stressed syllables, or a total of 10 syllables. We talked about 10 syllables on the first page. However, on many occasions, a poet will need to be creative or combine syllables in a word to keep the meter sound, okay? And when you think of meter, think of the rhythm of a poem. Rhythm is meter, okay? When a syllable is combined with another or even omitted, it is called an elision. For example, the word over, a two-syllable word, can be adapted to the word o'er, a one-syllable word for poetic purposes. For many, marking the rhythm is the most difficult part of the analysis process, and admittedly, it is not as crucial as other steps in this project. However, the discerning students will look at the poem from all angles, a 360-degree angle, and learn as much as he can. A poet may wish to create an irregular meter, for example, and it is this detail that could cause the reader to notice a key concept, okay? So we talked about poems and sonnets having rules, okay? These are the rules of a sonnet, okay? These are the rules here, these are the rules here of this specific type of sonnet, okay? But when a poet knows the rules, a poet can then break the rules. And when a poet breaks the rules, it helps to reveal meaning. Okay? So when we look at meter, the first thing we want to do is we want to look at it kind of mathematically. Okay? And I'm going to number my lines. So you should number yours. Okay? And I'm going to notice that each line of a sonnet is composed of five iambs, okay? A unit, so an iamb is one unit of an unstressed and stressed syllable. So one group of two syllables. Okay, so now we can talk about what does unstressed and stressed mean. An unstressed syllable is just when you speak or read a poem aloud. An unstressed syllable is going to be the part of a word that does not sound as drawn out or as loud as the other part of the word. Okay? So let's look at first. We're going to look at line 2 first. The reason we're going to look at line 2 is because this poet starts in line 1 by breaking the rules. But we're going to look at the rule first. Okay? So,
Good morning,
announcement.
Ryan. Staff and teachers, please report to your duty station. Staff and teachers, please report to your duty station.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so we're looking at line 2, and we're looking for 5 groups of 2 syllables, okay? So if you place your hand under your chin and you say, "But as for me, alas, I may no more." You may have to read it a little bit more slowly. But as for me, alas, I may no more. You'll notice when you count it that your chin touched your hand 10 times. And it should have touched it in these places. But as, that's 2 syllables. For me, that's 2 syllables. Alas, that's 2 syllables. I may, that's 2 syllables. And no more. So you'll notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 2 syllables, okay? With unstressed and stressed, we need to mark that as well. And so we say these words aloud to see which words are stressed and unstressed, okay? But as. You'll notice that when I say but as, the as is a little bit more drawn out. So the as, in comparison to but, is going to be the stressed syllable, okay? And we give stressed syllables this symbol here. The unstressed syllables get this symbol here, okay? Now we look at for me. For, when I say that word just in normal conversation, as if I'm reading this line, for me is a little bit louder, a little bit more drawn out. So that's the stressed syllable. For is unstressed, me is stressed. Now look at the third division here, alas. Alas is one word, okay? But alas is one word with two syllables. And the division of that syllable is right here. Alas. Okay? So here, alas. I may. May is a little bit more drawn out. No more. Okay? And so we have this pattern of unstressed followed by stressed, unstressed followed by stressed, unstressed, 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 all followed by stressed syllables. Okay? And again, a stressed syllable is just a syllable of a word that is a little bit more drawn out. Okay? Let's look at the next line. The vain travail. That's two syllables right there. One word with two syllables. Hath wearied. Okay? Well, hath is one syllable, but wearied is two syllables. Okay? Wearied, that's two syllables. Okay? So this would be the dividing line here. Wearied. So now we have the vain, travail, hath wear. That's one I am right there. That's one unit of two syllables. Eat me. This is also one I am, one group of two syllables. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of two syllables. So this line has 10 syllables. The vain, travail, hath wear, eat me, so sore. Okay? So we would continue with this pattern or we would continue trying to identify this pattern for the remainder of this poem, okay? And so I'm going to pause this screen really quickly so that I can identify the rest of the pattern, and then I'll talk to you about a couple of exceptions in this particular poem. All right, y'all, we're back. So this is when the entire poem is noted, is annotated for its metrical feet here. This is what the poem looks like. And actually, I didn't do this last line, but I'll just do it now. You'll notice that in line 2, we keep the unstressed followed by stressed pattern. Unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. In line 1 of this poem, the poet intentionally breaks this pattern. And he actually starts, I'm sorry.
Mr. Landry, if you're in the building, please make your way to your duty spot. Mr. Landry, make your way to your duty spot outside. Thank you.
So in line 1, we start with the word whoso, okay? Now, when you pronounce the word whoso, you'll notice when you put your hand under your chin, whoso actually has 2 syllables in it. But the stressed syllable, the one that sounds a little bit more drawn out or a little louder, is actually the first one. So the first syllable, who, is a little bit louder than so. So he breaks the pattern. He breaks the rule immediately. And when we get to talking about and paraphrasing this poem, we'll arrive at why he decided to do that, okay? But we break the pattern first, but then he kind of gets back to it. Whoso list to hunt I, know where is on, and then he breaks it again with the word hind, okay? And hind here is what I would classify as an unstressed syllable. When you say the word hind, it's kind of low in volume. The sound of it is not so harsh, hind, okay? And we'll talk later about why that specific word, okay? You'll notice also that in line 11, I used a different color here because he breaks this form again and I marked it incorrectly. Here, in diamonds, we actually have diamonds. Di is louder and a little bit more drawn out than uns, okay? So we have a stressed followed by an unstressed. And then here at the bottom in line 14, we break that form again. And wild for to hold, though I seem tame. And wild, that's 2 syllables. For to, that's 2 syllables. Hold though, that's 2 syllables. I seem, that's 2 syllables. But tame is only 1 syllable, okay? And so we break it here. And I would say that tame, it's a little bit drawn out. I would say that that's a stressed syllable, okay? And so the question that we must answer or ask ourselves when we identify meter, remember it said, the discerning reader will look at these broken rules and ask themselves, why? Why did Sir Thomas Wyatt decide to break these rules in these places, okay? So we would ask ourselves, why add a syllable? Okay, why add a syllable? There's an added syllable in this very first line, okay? The rules of a sonnet are 14 lines of 10 syllables. This is 11 syllables. Why add that syllable? Why break that rule? Why delete a syllable? This one here, we have a deleted syllable. This is only 9 syllables. Okay, why do that? Okay. Now we can arrive at the answer to this question after we have paraphrased, which is one of the next steps in this poem. But just understand, when you do this, this is the pattern that you should see most of the time, okay? Actually, this is the pattern that you should see most of the time. 10 syllables, a unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable, and that's how we would mark it. And when you see that pattern broken, we need to ask these questions. Why? Why was that pattern broken? All right, we'll catch you on the next one.